Hello ladies and gents, today's date is 25th of October 2015, and if you live in the UK you will no doubt be changing your clock back an hour. So this is my bike, it's showing 4:37 PM. The actual time is 3:38, so I'm gonna see if I can change this without reading the instructions manual. First, it comes up, so hold down the trigger until this screen comes up, and let's go down to the clock. Pull the trigger again to confirm, and 3:38, is that as easy as that? Pull the trigger again to do the minute. I know it's about 41. Pull the trigger, and that's it. So when you have finished the clock setting, pull and hold the trigger, and it comes out to the normal screen. And the time now is showing correctly. That's 3:44 PM. Shame it doesn't do the 24-hour clock, which is something I'd prefer over the AM PM one. You can read all the speed, time, and different mode setting and fuel level. On the right hand side, which is the bit I quite like, is the gear indicator, and you have 3 pages of menus. So this one, I'll just talk about why I've set it this one. This is my default one. It's trip 1, so after a full tank, and I put it down to 0, so I know by the time I get to 180 miles or 190 I definitely need to refuel. The fuel gauge will, the little warning symbol will flash, but also you should be able to tell that your mileage is up to 180, 190. Fuel average, again, 54 miles per gallon. This is an imperial gallons, and I've been getting higher than that, 61, 62 miles to the gallon, but that's if you ride really slowly and carefully. And the time trip, this is the minutes and hours, etc., for every time you start the ignition. And on the control here, if you just press one of the buttons, up or down, you should get to the next page of menu. And this one I like, well, I've kept it this way. You got trip 1, which is, for me, is every refill mileage, and trip 2 is the chain maintenance reminder. I know you should do it by looking at the chain condition, but I tend to reset trip 2 every time I've cleaned and lubed the chain, and so that I know I shouldn't go more than 400 miles. And the bottom one shows now I've done just under 1800 miles, and this is the last page of menu displays. You have your temperature. For air temperature, the top one, so 11 degrees, and coolant temperature, which is low, and in my experience on the motorways, cruising at 70-80 miles an hour, it will show you something like 75 degrees. The constant fuel level, that's something I've just brought up. I've not been able to look at that, so again it explains is the instantaneous, if you like, fuel consumption. So press up or down again to my default page. This is the one I like to be looking at occasionally when I'm riding, so I know my time for travel and the fuel condition, the fuel range, if you like. The top of the right hand section, if I pull the trigger on the bike on the left hand handlebar, and it shows the shape of the handlebar, and this is where you can change the 3 levels of your heated grips, which is lovely in the cold weather. Turn it off, And the problem is, if you leave it on, even on the lowest setting, and after you restart the bike, it doesn't cancel the heated grips. So when you next time turn the bike on, the heating will come on to the previous setting. So I always make sure I pull the trigger to turn off the heated grips. So here it is. This is how I like to set up the dash on my Tracer. Leave your comments below if you've got any question. I'm quite happy to do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Right, obviously don't want to all reset. Display 1, display 2, display 3. Oh, these are the 3 menu settings. So how do I get back now? Okay, unit, kilometers or miles. Let's look at the display. Display 1. Time, trip, coolant temperature, air temperature. Trip 1, trip 2, odometer, fuel average. Oh, constant fill. That could be interesting. Let's confirm that. And display 2 shows me trip 1, trip 2, and odometer. And I want to keep that. Display 3 is my trip 1. Average fuel and time. All good. Is there anything I'm missing? Air temperature, coolant temperature, time, trip 1, trip 2, odometer, fuel average, constant fill. I think I'll leave it as trip 1, as it was before.